Umar Kabanda is a Ugandan researcher. He is a policy leader fellow at the School of Transnational Governance at the European University Institute. Umar, and you're very lucky that you're joining us from Rome. Beautiful city. Listen, I know it's a little bit unfair, but this has just appeared on the Reuters news agency, and I wanted to ask you if this is normal. Morocco says it has wheat reserves sufficient for around 4 months of consumption. Would that be normal for a country to have reserves enough for 4 months? To me, it sounds like very little.
It is indeed very little as compared to the demands of the populations in terms of using food, the ways how wheat is supposed to be used and all other storages. So it is indeed not normal, and there's a lot more that needs to be done, because looking at only Morocco, if you look at all other countries like Egypt, it is one of the world's importers of wheat, and such storages for 4 months cannot solve the gradual process or some of the challenges that are existing that have caused the supply of wheat to be reduced across the world.
Yeah, and is it really a question of supply, or is it a question of how much is being produced? Because my understanding is that some countries over the past few years have planted a lot of crops. So actually there should theoretically be enough. But the issue is the supply chain, with ships not being able to leave Ukraine, countries, especially around Africa, for example, that they have to sign new contracts and find new ships, and they have to find new facilities because the supply will be coming from other nations. Or is it really a problem that there isn't enough product?
Looking at the war, it has cut off supply of specific commodities. Like wheat, specifically looking at sunflower, looking at corn. So these are some of the commodities that have been depended on. So the demand and supply, it's what establishes the price. And looking at the war cutting off the supply of some of these specific commodities in Africa, African countries, it has increased the prices, and in such a way, it has also limited the possibility of those countries to pick up.
Yeah, but again, the question becomes, is it a problem of the amount of produce? Is it a problem of supply? Or is it the war itself? Or is it the climate crisis? For example, the Morocco issue that we started with, they said that the drought has reduced the harvest by 53%. You've got a huge drought and heat wave in India and in Pakistan, and they say their wheat crops are going to suffer. So the climate crisis along with the conflict, which one has become more important in creating the crisis of food insecurity?
From my point of view, I would think the crisis has greatly contributed to the crisis of food at the moment. As given to you in the example I gave about Egypt, it's very clear that Egypt is the leading importer of wheat all over the world. And looking at Tunisia and Morocco, all those countries, you would see that, yes, the droughts have been there, the other crises have been there, climate issues have been there, but in the long run, you've seen that the prices have not gone high. But because of the crisis in Ukraine caused by Russia, you get to realize that the cutoff of the imports that are being sent to these respective countries has undermined the ability of these recipient countries to cope up. And partly the destabilization caused by the Russia-Ukraine war in terms of the distribution of oil across the world, it has also increased prices, which has not only translated to the high increase in prices of other commodities, but also affected transport, affected the transfer of raw materials, which in the long run has all affected the production on one side, as well as the supply in respective countries. So we would attach mostly this aspect to the war and its effect on cutting off the transfer of goods and commodities from respective countries.
Yeah, a very multifaceted issue, obviously. Umar, thank you so much for joining us. Umar Kabanda in Rome.